Hey Hodies, welcome to my channel. My name is hautemesstom, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today I just want to play with some makeup. What I really want to do is I realized that I brought a lot of makeup into my collection recently, and I'm still wrapping my head around a lot of things, so this is just me playing with those things. We're just gonna chill out, we're gonna vibe. If you are new to my channel runs on a couple of ethos, one of them being to love my makeup collection as it is. This is a little bit rare for me to have so many things that I'm like testing and reviewing. Normally Let's Play with Makeup is kind of focused on using like things that I have already had for the most part, with like maybe the addition of a few new items, but today is just like a little bit different. Also, I'm just like feeling a little bit like right now, just like I'm not in the worst moods, but I'm not like the best of moods either. So if that kind of content is the kind of content you've been on the search for, the subscribe button is right there, and I would love to have you hit it. Make sure you like this video before you leave it, by the way. That helps me. And I'm also on patreon.com if you would like to support me. There. And thank you to all my lovely patrons. You're the real ones. I'm recording this on a Thursday. I have some good news for you that I can't share yet. It's like exciting, but also don't get too excited. It's I don't know how to manage expectations. I was like gonna elaborate, and I was like, I don't think that I need to elaborate. I'm just prepping my face with the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. I just showered and worked out, but I did my skincare this morning. It's 6 in the afternoon. We're really getting ahead of the game here. I got the new iPhone, and I wasn't really planning on doing that. But then my cellular network, they said, here's a deal. And I was like, that sounds pretty good. So I'm selling them my phone, which is still in very good, fine working condition, sending that back to them. And then they are cutting the price of the new iPhone in half. I am making like monthly installment payments on it. Neither here nor there about that fact. I was trying to transfer my phone over, and I couldn't tell you what a SIM card is. I couldn't tell you. But it was like, we've moved to eSIMs, and I was like, great, does that mean I don't need to have a SIM card anymore? Because like once every 3 or 4 years it comes up as a thing that I need to like be worried about. I now have to update my old phone because I can't do the eSIM transfer until the old phone is, it's just like becoming a little bit more than I had intended. And I could have just gone to the Sprint store, or not Sprint, I'm not on Sprint anymore, T-Mobile store, and had them do it for me. But I like to think that I'm with it when it comes to technology, but that is not the case. If you were curious, that was the Mario Badescu Mint Lip Balm. That's that. I'm gonna zoom you in so I guess you could see me applying things a little bit closer. I don't know if anyone's interested in that. Is anyone interested in that? Well, that's what you're getting. I'm not gonna go like too close. You don't need to be that close to my face. I'd like you a little bit closer. Maybe I'm feeling a little bit lonely. I am feeling a little bit lonely, actually. I am having a tooth time at work. A tooth time. And it's not like my work is the problem. You know, it's like, I'm not blaming them, but like a lot has happened, but it wasn't work's fault. It's like a third character, a tertiary character, if you will. It's kind of like their fault that my job has been like much more annoying. Anyway, I've been making like a lot more mistakes than I usually do at work, and it's been really killing me. And like, I swear to God, at the beginning of this week, I was like, I'm not gonna make any mistakes. And do you know what happened? Today I got a mistake. And I'm not really like a perfectionist. I get errors a couple of times a month, but like, it's been a lot of errors. I try really hard not to be a perfectionist, having as many as I did, but like also there's extenuating circumstances, and my bosses haven't said anything to me about it, but it is like killing me. The past 2 days, been triple checking my work before moving on. I have been. So now, not only do I have like more work than usual, it's now taking me 3 times as long because I'm trying so hard not to make mistakes. It's just killing me. And that's the end of work talk. So I'm gonna say that to you. That's where we are. The first thing that we are revisiting, still keen to play with, I mean, I'm pretty sure I have my feelings on this like relatively solidified, but I haven't finished playing with it in all of the ways. So the auric, that throws me. It's AU, and like in English, auric. This is like auric is what I want to say, but it's auric. It's not my brand name. I'm just trying to say it right. Been still loving this. So that's the first update, is that still loving it. But I will update you. Fairly certain I'm going to do like a I'm 2 years late to the party kind of review on auric. And I will do it with also this, but we're not playing with this today. But like the thing is, I've been playing a lot with this because I really, really love it. And this is something that serves me every time I do my makeup. Whereas this, it's like, I have to want to do my makeup with this. It's like a little bit different vibes. So it's just taking me a while. And I think the influx of a bunch of new things is also like messing with my brain as far as like when I want to do a review, how I want to do reviews. Do I want to review this as a foundation? Because that's kind of what it's boiling down to, is like, I'm kind of treating it like a foundation and a highlight. I haven't pulled out a highlighter that wasn't this since I tried this the first time, which is very commendable because I have some beautiful highlights. My friend Chloe, Chloe Enchanted here on YouTube, she finally tried one of the Rare Light Luminizers from Ritual Defee. And she messaged me on Instagram and she was like, I now know why you have so many Ritual Defee highlighters. And I was like, girl, I'm so glad you've been touched by the angel that is. So what I haven't done with this yet, let me update you. Let me tell you. So I tried it with this is the 3-drop elixir. No, that's not it. This is the Thorn Oil from Ritual Defee. These two, not friends. They don't like each other. My makeup looked dry whenever I use them together. Nothing about either one of these things should look dry. I will also say there was a third variable. I also mixed it a little bit with this to like kind of like do a foundation hybrid. But let me tell you about some combos that have worked. I've mixed it with my Luminous Silk Concealer. Excellent, love that. We really love that. I've mixed it with the Glowy Makeup Serum and the Luminous Elixir 3-drop foundation from Ritual Defee. They love it. I've mixed it with the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. Great time. Love it. The only thing I haven't mixed it with is the Surratt. So that's what we're going to do today. See how that goes. I'm going to do like 3 drops of the Surratt, and I'm going to do like half a pump of auric. Okay, maybe I'm going to do 4 pumps. 5. Just 5. 5 drops of the Surratt. I'm wanting a little more coverage. Not that I really need it. Nope, I'm going to use color corrector first. I have put this, obviously, over this green color corrector. It works fine. I am almost out of the Bobbi Brown. And it is kind of like something that I use as a control whenever I'm doing foundation reviews. But, and hear me out. Now hold on. That leaves a space in my primer drawer, because I also don't want my primers to get out of control, as I don't want my foundations to get out of control. If you're new here, I max my foundations at 4. So if I ever try a new one, if I want it to stay, an old friend has to go. And I just do that because I never want it to have, I would never have the situation, even if this was the only way I made money, never in my life do I want to have a room filled with makeup. And that is a me thing. That is not casting judgment on people who do have that. That overwhelms me. 4 in rotation is like accessible enough where I'm going to be rotating through them. And I like know my relationship with all 4 of these foundations pretty well. Know how they perform, know how they interact with other things. So like I know how they interact with my primers and things that I would put on top of foundation. Primers, same thing. I have 3. I used to have 2. I used to have more. I used one up this year, and then I'm gonna start working on the foundation. I am gonna put a half pump of the auric, maybe 3/4 of a pump. That's like the best consistency I've gotten by mixing. You may remember whenever I did the Becoming Hannah Louise Poston video, when she was like mixing a bunch of stuff together, I was like, I don't understand this. I've never done this. Now it's now that I have the Glow Lust, honey, I understand. When I use it up, which I'm not gonna buy a new one until I use it up, which is what we should do, because it's like I like the Bobbi Brown, right? And it's okay that I use it up, because that's a really, really good sign, especially as someone who is like recovering from always bringing in too much. And you know, it's so funny. It was like I was never a primer girly until I had few enough of them to use with few enough foundations where I could really see the benefits of using different primers for different situations. I know it's early moments with this mixture, but I will say it's my favorite one. If not this, the NARS Creamy and Concealer. Those two really like each other. And with the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer, I just like dot a couple bits of that, and then I just mostly use the Auric as the foundation. The NARS disperses itself, and I do kind of keep the NARS right under the under eye. And I might throw some of the NARS on just under the under eye. Not that my under eyes are looking particularly tough, but we're playing with makeup. This leaves a space where I could buy the Victoria Beckham primer. There's another side to this. There's a sad side to this, is that the Victoria Beckham primer is expensive. And I know it comes in a smaller size. And I know in my brain that buying the smaller size to try it is probably what I should do. Because what if I don't like it? Which is a possibility. If you guys recall, last year around this time, I was talking about how much I wanted to try the Victoria Beckham primer. All throughout Messmas, I talked about how I wanted to try the Victoria Beckham primer. It does feel as though the time is coming. But that would be like a whole month's budget if I bought the primer. If I re-up on Bobbi Brown, that doesn't come out of my budget because repurchases are not considered part of my budget. I'm fairly certain that was the boundary I set for myself. I'm pretty sure that's the rule. It's a banger of a combo. If you would have told 2016 me that I wanted to slather the shiniest shit on my face all over it, I would have been like, I don't understand what you're saying to me. I was a matte bitch back then, like a mad ass bitch. Nowadays, I like to glow. Here's the thing. I understand that, you know, sometimes the oils in our skins make us feel some kind of way. And like also it does affect the performance of things that are supposed to work well on dry skin. Why fight what God is giving me that people with dry skin are fighting for? Why would I want to take this down, honey? Lift it up. Am I gonna powder this? Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna just contour really quick with my old friend, what was this called? Fenty Cheeks Out bronzer in amber. I hope if you are new here, seeing this and me talking about how I like to like love my makeup collection really resonates. I know that this video is like kind of giving off the vibe that that's not the truth, but I have some things that I'm testing right now that I'm fairly certain that I will pass on to friends. When I say that I'm not keeping something, it doesn't mean I'm like throwing it away or whatever. I have friends who enjoy makeup. Well, I have one friend. It's kind of this trickle down thing. And if it's a blush, it goes to one friend. Because that friend, she can pan blush. Blush is like the only item of makeup that she wears, and she wears a lot of it. Then I have another friend where it's like eyeshadow palettes I typically don't want. We'll go to them. Essentially, like our complexion is the same enough that if I don't like a foundation or something, they'll try it out. But they also have friends at work who wear makeup. They also have friends at work who don't wear makeup or don't spend a lot of money on makeup. But I hated the Luminous Silk foundation, and then they also hated the Luminous Silk foundation, but one of their coworkers had never tried it before, used it, and it works really well on their skin. So I love that for us. You know, we are a little team of people. If I'm ever overwhelmed enough where like I need to like actually like pass on foundation, gently used foundation, there's a trans organization in Pittsburgh that I'm fairly certain will be able to help me find homes for all of them. The only thing is that I have very fair complexion, and that's like a Black-led organization. I think they help people of all skin tones, but I do think that the primary people that they help are people with deeper complexions. So I don't know how helpful my foundations would be in that scenario, but I'm gonna offer it to them first. And I know that a lot of people offer their foundations to women's sculptures, which I think is like a really great thing, but like, I'm gonna help my own first. That's what will happen if I ever get to the point where like I'm overwhelmed with the amount of like stuff I have. Right now, I'm in the midst of testing 2 blushes. One I'm fairly certain I'm gonna keep, one I'm not. Patrons already know about the second one, and I think I briefly mentioned the second one on another video, but I didn't have it yet. So here's the Gucci blush in Rosy Beige. It's so interesting. The circle that I have been associated in and with, so it's like interesting because it's like, and I'm not saying that I'm on the same level as these people, but like there's like Hannah, Khaki, State of Kate, me, and then what we don't like just kind of rotates around, but we've all tried the thing, if that makes sense. So like, I love the Merit lipsticks, Hannah loves the Merit lipsticks, Khaki certainly does not like the Merit lipsticks. And I feel like that's, anyway, so every other YouTuber seems to really like this, and I truly, and I'm not like saying this to be like counterculture negative, that I don't think that Gucci's done anything good. That's not true. But I just don't think this is worth your money. I don't think the formula of the actual product, removing the beautiful packaging from it and the terrible scent, I don't like. I actually really, at first I was like not bothered by it, but I don't like it. I'm particular about scents. I really don't like the scent of the Luminous 3-Drop Elixir Foundation from Ritual Defeat, but it performs really well. And there's like value in that, whereas I'm like, this performs fine. There's not value in that, to me, personally. Right? You could get a fine blush for $3 from e.l.f. So that's not what we're gonna wear today on my face today. We're gonna put Mimi. This is from Westman Atelier. And I also have Pop It. Let me pull out Pop It because here's the thing. Let's talk about my past whenever I was buying a lot of stuff. And it was a little bit out of control. Here's Pop It. Pop It from Westman Atelier. It's a beautiful bright pink. Here's the thing. I don't wear a lot of looks that call for this color of blush, but I like the formula. It's really easy to work with, and I've always been kind of bummed out that this is the shade that I went for when I bought it. And I was like, I would really love to have a shade that feels more all the time. I hate whenever there's like a hair that I can't find on my face. This is the shade Mimi from Westman Atelier. This is a Westman Atelier website exclusive. I thought that this and Rosy Beige were gonna be effectively the same thing. I bought Rosy Beige to fill the gap of this, which I did not own. Now, I understand that the formulas were not going to be the same because they're just different formulas. This one's a powder and this one's a cream. But here, they're very much giving the same thing in pan. Similar. Now that I see them in person, I know the differences. But I thought if this worked out, then I don't need this. And then I continue to only have one formula. I kind of follow the same kind of guidelines as Hannah, is like, once you have one shade of something that you really enjoy, that you don't need more. However, this particular shade isn't very usable to me all of the time. That's why I was just like, well, I'll just buy a different formula altogether that fills the same fantasy. On Westman Atelier's website, this is labeled as a warm tawny beige, but all of the imagery on Westman Atelier's website looks cool toned and dead, and that's actually a blush that like I'm on the lookout for, because I thought that Rosy Beige might fulfill that fantasy. I thought that Mimi might fill that fantasy. Neither one fills that fantasy. But I do like one fantasy a lot more than the other. It is warm toned, and I do think that like it's really hard whenever it's that off. And I'll put some of the marketing imagery on the screen from Westman Atelier's website of Mimi, because I've been like lusting over this because I thought it was gonna be this dead pink color. So if you know of any gray toned pink blushes, and I think from any brand, if you could leave them in the comments, I'd be really happy to check them out. I've been looking because it's me and my friend Brittany are like on the hunt for this concept, this like pale gray pink, and like we are just not finding it. Anyway, so I'm gonna swatch the Gucci blush next to Mimi. So this one, this is Mimi, definitely warmer. This is Rosy Beige, definitely more cool toned, definitely more pink. The thing is, in the swatches, I think both of them are very misleading to how they will look on the face, so I'm gonna buff them out. When you buff out Rosy Beige, you start seeing most of the rosy, and a lot of the beige gets kind of lost in the sauce. When you blend out Mimi, you get a lot of the warmth, and it's just like a flush of warmth, and it's really beautiful on the cheeks. It's like a very natural looking blush. So now that I have gone through the emancipation of Mimi, we will move along, and I will be putting Mimi on my cheeks today. And if you've ever seen me use Pop It, you know that I've never been this generous with the amount of Pop It that I put on. I trust Mimi. I don't trust Pop It. Yeah, again, but it's also like Pop It's just like not a color I'm very invested in. And there is Mimi blended out. I know I'm super reflective because of my base, but it's super natural. It's like, it's still a very, like, it's not the most concentrated shade. Like, it blends out really nice. I think I got more on this side. That's probably because I waited to blend it out. But yeah, this is like much more of the fantasy even though it's not like the cool toned light gray pink that I'm looking for, or that I thought I was going to get in either one of these, I love this. I think this is really beautiful, and I'm going to use this a hell of a lot, because I think even though it is like warm leaning, I don't think it punches you so much in the face that it's like I couldn't wear it with cool tones, because we're gonna wear it with cool tones. So let's powder. I'm gonna use the Chantecaille Perfect Blur powder. I promise you guys, I swear to God, that one of these days that pan is gonna be shining back at me. I know we're not in a critical Saz, but I am kind of surprised how excited people are for the new Pat McGrath holiday collection. But I might just be being cynical because it's who I am. Did you guys like the ranty video that I did? Seems to have gone over quite well. That was exciting because I was really nervous to post it, because I was like, I don't know about this. I wanted to make it clear when I was like starting it. I was like, some of the things I'm saying are like unsubstantiated. I am recording this the day before Friday, famously Thursday. We are approaching Taylor Swift season. I'm not a Swiftie. I'm not coming for anyone's neck. And that means I would appreciate it if you don't come for mine. I don't care for Taylor Swift. But it also doesn't bother me that people love her. So I think those two things can be true. Anyway, but what I do love about Taylor Swift fans is that they're really into it. A lot of artists moved their drops from tomorrow to today, and a lot of people think it's because Taylor Swift is doing something tomorrow and they didn't want to get lost in the sauce when Taylor Swift dropped something. Let's talk about another new thing. This is a little bit different because it is a tool. I bought the Sonia G Jumbo Bronzer Brush. I wish I had another big bronzer brush to compare it to. Here's what I was using for bronzer prior. This is one of those double-ended brushes from Hourglass. This bronzer brush can completely hide behind the Sonia G. I wanted to replace this because I was really tired of having to have it sit on my vanity while everything else was in a cup. So I was just trying to like literally solve that problem. It's not even that I don't like the Hourglass brush. I think it's like actually a very, very nice brush. I can't remember why I bought it. Don't remember when I bought it. That's the other thing, is like it just seems to be a thing that I decided I needed and bought, which is very much the motivation that I had whenever I was buying things before. But like, so I don't know how this compares to the Rephr or the Tom Ford. But what I will say, I was very surprised at how unstiff it was. I was kind of expecting it to be like very dense, but it has so much give. And the way it applies bronzer is just chef's kiss beautiful. So I'll be using the Tom Ford bronzer because a big bronzer brush like this deserves a big bronzer to play in. I, at first, was very afraid to use this, but like you can swirl, like I'm swirling, kicking some off. And then what it just does is beautifully dispenses bronzer. It doesn't look like... Sometimes when I feel like I put on powder bronzer, I just feel like it gets so concentrated in one area, but like this doesn't do that. It's beautiful. I wasn't sure if I was gonna like enjoy this, and I've even like taken powder on like just a little bit. I knew I was gonna like enjoy this brush because I have other Sonia G brushes and I like them, but I was really surprised by the performance of it. Like I just didn't know, but now I do know. We just powdered, but like still looking so glowy. I'm gonna put more auric morganite on the peaks of my cheeks. And I know that like not everyone would do this. That would be like a lot of glow, but I am not most people. I don't know if you've caught on to that. I think if we've learned anything about me and my channel, honestly, I don't know that there will ever be enough glow. And honestly, for me, this is like subtle. This is a subtle take on glow. I really haven't enjoyed a product like Glow Lust in, well, I guess since the Isamaya palette. They're like on the same level of like, ooh, ooh, they're so good. Ooh, they're so good. I'm going to show you a lurk that I did the other day that I really enjoyed. I watched Hannah Louise Poston's video on how like kind of lived in eye looks are kind of what's trending. And I was like, oh, I could do that. You know what's the best thing to do that with is the roén eyeshadow. I don't think anything looks more lived in than that. I still haven't tried. Here's the thing. I have fallen in favor of a couple of shades of the roén shades. And so I haven't used them all yet. And people want me to figure out whether or not I can figure out how to get them to not crease. But here's the thing. I don't know that I need it to not crease. Having tried it and having seen the comments in my videos, whenever the rowan quads would get brought up before I had them, was that it's so divisive. It's so divisive. And that's the thing, is I understand why the people who hate it, and I understand why the people who love it. I fall on the side of love. So I'm trying to explain to you that it's like, I think part of the allure is like to enjoy the creasing. And I know it's like a hard concept for a lot of us, but I have gotten it to like not crease for a couple of hours. That's probably the best performance I got of it. But as the night wears on, if you're wearing it in the evening, I do think that this is like evening. Well, in the daytime, the lighter shades would work in the daytime. And this is the 1111 quad. My favorite shade is this one right here, which I'm going to guess is called Situation. And I think that is the best rowan shade that I have tried. It has the most texture, the most flakiness. It is the most beautiful. And it's kind of on my skin tone, kind of the color of my skin. So when it started creasing, it was like not very apparent that that was what was happening. But I wore this other shade out the other night. I went to dinner and got ice cream with a friend. And the shimmer will stay where it is. The pigment is what kind of creases up. And that is kind of what leaves you with the rock star look. I think that was the part that I was like missing out on, and the part that I didn't quite understand is like people are like, it looks very like model on the go, very chic. And it is. I think if you try to use them in a structured look, like if you added other eyeshadows, which I haven't done, I just like will use one of these shadows. And if you've watched me finesse eyeshadow before, you know it's like not normally the thing that I'm doing with eyeshadow. I think if you try to finesse it too much, that's when you're going to get in trouble. And that's whenever the creasiness, I think, would start bothering you, is because you're like, I've structured this look around this eyeshadow. The eyeshadow is like not performing like a powder eyeshadow or one of my regular shimmer eyeshadows. So what I'm going to do is take this shade here, this grayish shade. I haven't really gotten used to like applying pressure because they are kind of like waxy, but I also have found that the thinner the layer you apply, the better it looks, because then the less pigment can get caught up in that, like in the crease, you know, less pigment gets caught up in there. I'm gonna try to zoom you in. I also feel like I haven't seen anyone, it is, and me either, I've even featured these on my Instagram in a reel. It's really hard to capture what these look like, because even in this shade, there's like blue sparkles and silver sparkles, and they're not all the same sparkle, but like it is so beautiful. It just looks like an oil. It's like just like so pretty. But like I said, the thinner the better when it comes to applying them. And I have found that I like it better without eyeshadow primer. See, we're still formulating thoughts. These are things I don't have. Like, I think that the eyeshadow primer, it makes it too thick, and then the eyeshadow primer and the product gets like caught up in your crease, and then it's just like, what was the point of that? It just kind of made it worse. Like, I'm fairly certain that in my wear test of them, I did like a side-by-side one with no eyeshadow primer and one with eyeshadow primer. The side with eyeshadow primer like creased up and got weird looking first. And it looked worse creased up than it does whenever I just had it layered by itself. Because people talk about powdering it, but I think like putting like a powder shimmer over top of it just like ruins the effect of it, because it's kind of part of like the like slick glossy look of it is really part of the appeal about this. So that's like something that you would have to like want. Anyway, I can save some of my thoughts for the final video. Anyway, we're doing the grungy, like smoked out look. I have a black eyeliner, or it's called Black Coffee from Pat McGrath. And I'm just literally gonna like smudge this a little on the lash line. And then I'm gonna take a brush and just kind of like smudge it, but with like reckless abandon reasons. But I think that the rowan quads, like if you wanted to achieve this, like the rowan eyeshadows are really, really good for achieving this like lived in look that's trending. So if you already have it, I like recommend that you try it out. if that was a look that you were looking to try out. It's kind of like what I like, I don't know if this is really the right way to say this, but like whenever I was in high school, like black heavy eyeliner was like kind of the look du jour of the time of the kids. And I do think that this like lived in eyeshadow look is very reminiscent of that, but like in a bit more elegant of a way than they were doing it whenever I was like in middle school and high school. I'm going to spray my face with some Fix Plus mascara, and then we'll talk about lipstick. We're getting to the end of September, which means the Isamaya mascara and I will be departing soon. We'll have hit our 3 months. And I think I'm gonna miss it. I'm not gonna rebuy it though. And while I do like, I will pay $30 for a mascara, there's something that intrinsically feels wrong about buying a $39 mascara. I am okay with like spending money on like eyeshadow palettes and things. I think mascara is the only thing that I repurchase a lot because I don't wear I don't wear eyebrow product. I only have that to be like my high repurchasal thing. That like $40 is like too much for that. Too much for that. I know that some people will wear their mascaras for longer than 3 months, but like I cause myself enough eye irritation with not being able to handle having long nails to be needing an additional threat on the eyes. And I will say I'm pretty sure that I have been liking the Isamaya formula more as time progresses. Like I think the formula now is like actually more so giving me the like elongated, like kind of like what I was expecting it to. I don't know, the way she makes it look in the advertising is like, this mascara is crazy. And just because it's part of the look today, because we are kind of doing this like lived in look, I like applied a lot more than I usually do. I also got some up here, but it's not going to dry down because there's cream up there. Right, that just blended right out. Cool. Black lipstick. I've only worn this the one time, but like, you know, well, not every day does it call for black lipstick. I think black lipstick kind of gives that cool lived in, I don't know. I don't know if that's true, but it's what I want to believe. I feel like I need to start taking Glow Lust down my upon my body so that it's not like shiny and then matte. I'm zooming in so you can see the skin a little bit closer and see how bad I did putting on lipstick. Ooh, ooh, Looking stunning, honestly. I'm gonna show you some other things that are like new to me that I am playing with. I think this might be it. Maybe I don't have as many things. I'm like, I have so many things, but it did feel like a lot. Because normally I'm like reviewing one thing because typically my budget with the kind of makeup I like to buy and the budget that I gave myself, normally like one thing a month is like all I can afford to bring in. I am also testing out this Dior Quint. This is the colorway New Look. And I've only used this a couple of times, so I like really have no thoughts on that. So essentially when I'm talking about my budget, I'm not going to have much to say about the items, but that's okay. We'll just roll them over into October. Next week, I want to do a Let's Play with Makeup and play with some of my other fall fantasy items. Not particularly like this newness. Do you think I'm pulling off the lived in makeup look? I think I am. I think I am. Let's reflect a little bit. Although I think I actually talked a lot about the makeup. So I don't know. I don't think I actually have to today. You know my feelings on a lot of these things if you've been around. And if you're new, there's many videos where I talk about a lot of this stuff. The stuff that I didn't harp on, it has been well documented in my channel, Trust and Believe. Anyway, that's that. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, if you are not subscribed, you can do that. Don't forget to like this video before you leave it. And also, again, I'm on Patreon if you would like to support me there. Remember to follow your haute, and you will find me. I appreciate you all so much. I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye. Friend.